UFC 261 took place this Saturday with 3 championship bouts headlining the card. The main event saw Usman knocking out their hometown favorite Jorge Masvidal. But while there was no shortage of action in the octagon, outside of it, Jake Paul had the crowd in a frenzy, leading to an altercation with UFC legend DC. After the event, UFC President Dana White has some rough words for Jake Paul and his boxing career.
He's getting hand-picked opponents, and God knows what else is going on with that whole thing. It's all, there is a market for that. That's not what I do. That is not what I do. People want to see that, and you know, people want to see it, and it's great. And this kid's going to make a couple bucks before this ride is over, and it's just not what I do. The numbers that you're hearing that they did are full of. They're full of, okay? They didn't pull those kind of numbers at all, not even close. And none of that's real. I mean, do you think any of that going on over there is real? Come on, man. I built a real business here, a real sport. That's a freak show.
I built this, I built that. I mean, what's up with Dana White? It's always about him and the UFC. They ask you about Jake Paul. Another thing, hand-picked opponents? Bro, some world champions get hand-picked opponents. It's only this guy's 3rd professional fight. Of course, he's gonna get a hand-picked opponent. All prospects get hand-picked opponents. It's part of the process in boxing. What are you talking about? I mean, he probably fought a guy with a lot more experience that a lot of these prospects fight their first 3 or 4 fights. So yes, hand-picked opponents, that's normal, Dana. I don't know what's his gripe against Triller and throwing shots at their pay-per-view numbers, but the whole Jake Paul hate is played out already, Dana.
First thing I say is that Dana was originally saying that Ben Askren was going to beat him. It was going to beat Jake Paul. So you can't really say hand-picked opponents anymore. The first 2, absolutely hand-picked from the bottom of the sea. Yes, we get it, you know, but Ben Askren, even though most of the world was saying, nah, he's not going to beat Jake Paul because he has no hands. You know, so you can't switch and say, oh, he got hand-picked opponents. I think you should give him a little bit of credit because you thought he was going to lose that. Now, if he wants to bring up the UFC, I don't mind. You know why? Because think about it. Triller is new to the game, just like the UFC was new to the fight game back in 1995. Don't you remember? It was banned. Governor Pataki back then in 1997, he banned it for, I don't know, 19, 20 years. So it just recently became legal to even have the UFC in New York State. Now, other states came along on board, but New York State was last. So I think you gotta remember yourself and your own climb, how people you felt were hating on your sport and your business that's established now, but there was a time when it was low and it wasn't respected, and that's where Triller's at now. So you might not like it, but you should at least respect it and remember where you came from.